Diyos babalos pong maray sa JCI Naga for the honor of nominating me to be one of the outstanding young men of 2023. I'm truly honored to be receiving this award. But this honor does not belong to me, but to all our communities who believe, show up, and work to make our country better, even in issues that seem hopeless and impossible to solve. Whether it's traffic, corruption, the coronavirus pandemic, the smoking epidemic, or even the learning crisis, empowered communities are doing the silent, everyday work of changing our systems towards a just and equitable world. This honor belongs to Tarabangan Contra COVID Naga, our COVID-19 response volunteers group who managed 2 COVID-19 surges in Naga City at a time when funeral homes were turning away the dead and more healthcare workers were getting sick. Our collective action saved lives and we lowered COVID-19 numbers in only 2 weeks. We organized to do mobile testing through VP Lenny's swab cab, monitored patients and organized vaccine operations, and improved prevention mechanisms for COVID-19. This honor belongs to Move as One Coalition, our coalition of 140 organizations advocating for policies and budgets for safe, humane, and inclusive public transport systems. One of the reasons for massive traffic congestion is a system of urban planning and budgeting that focuses on cars, not people, and not nature. Our collective action has led to the passage of 38 billion pesos in budgets for road-based public transport from 2020 to 2024, from near zero in 2019 to address the massive public transport shortage and improve commuter experience. This honor belongs to more than 140 young mobility leaders who are now leading reforms and movements in their respective local communities around the country. This honor belongs to movements that are now being led by a new generation of activists that graduated from our programs. Ilog Pasiglahin, led by the Pasig River Ferries, and the Par Extinguishers are fighting to protect Pasig River and its tributaries. The Metro Naga active transport community led the creation of Naga City's first protected bike lanes, and though these bike lanes are no longer in the city plaza, we are fighting to recover them and to include a bike lane network in our city for the safety of vulnerable road users. The Safe and Sound City's Naga Fellows are creating skate parks, improving detection of illegally parked cars, and improving street safety and lighting. The Make It Safer movement, who are fighting for safety, spaces, and solidarity in Metro Manila, led the restoration of the Ayala Avenue bike lanes, protested against the removal of the San Juan bike lanes, and are now leading the charge in protesting against the MMDA's anti-poor and pro-traffic ban of e-bikes and e-trikes on national roads, to the detriment and to even greater danger for vulnerable road users like mothers and senior citizens who rely on e-bikes and e-trikes. This honor belongs to the Citizens Budget Tracker, our community of more than 60 volunteers holding power to account by monitoring COVID-19 funds. We tracked the COVID-19 response and recovery programs in a website until the President stopped reporting on budget use in January 2021. We ran a proof of concept local budget tracker within the municipality of Gumaca in Quezon. We studied 20 billion pesos in pandemic contracts and investigated top pandemic contractor Pharmaleaf Pharmaceuticals financial statements and sent our findings to the Senate Ethics Committee in partnership with the Right to Know Right Now Coalition, a group of freedom of information advocates. This honor belongs to the People's Budget Coalition, an alliance of 10 civil society organizations pushing for a more equitable COVID-19 recovery budget. We organized across political divides and strategically critiqued the government's COVID-19 recovery budget and advocated for the realignment of 1.2 trillion pesos of the 5 trillion peso proposed budget in 2022 towards a more equitable recovery program for health, labor, social welfare, mobility, among others. Of this amount, we were able to successfully push for 69 billion pesos in realignments at the national level, 100 billion if one includes unprogrammed appropriations. This is very small relative to the need for a truly equitable recovery from the pandemic, but it is a good proof of concept of the power of collective action in pushing for budgets in Congress dahil pera natin to at budget natin to. This honor belongs to our 9 young budget leaders who have crafted budgets their sectors deserved in the fields of human rights, labor, inclusion of persons with disabilities, LGBTQIA+ rights, waste workers' welfare, social services for survivors of trafficking, and services for internally displaced peoples in Bangsamoro, among others. This honor belongs to the Naga City People's Council, with whom we are working to support 15 sectors in Naga City in developing bottom-up budget proposals for the City Council, now amounting to around 55 million pesos that we want to pass. We studied the city's 1.6 billion peso budget and 13.7 billion peso annual investment programs. We collated comments from the NCPC sector representatives and are training them and working with them to ask more than 134 budget questions to the city's 37 offices, as envisioned in the Naga City People's Budget Ordinance of 2017, which established mechanisms to deepen people's participation in the budget process. This honor belongs to the Data for Empowerment Alliance, who are opening up government data to empower people to address the learning crisis, improve civil service, and measure success in mobility that center on people and nature and not on private motor vehicles. This honor belongs to our partners in the 2nd Congressional Commission on Education, our education team, and our UP President Edgardo J. Angara Fellows, who are working to improve education data governance to address miseducation. This honor belongs to the members of the open contracting and open government community. In 2023, we were selected as one of the 10 projects in the Global Open Contracting Partnerships Impact Accelerator program called LIFT, from a pool of 150 proposals from 70 countries. We are working with the Procurement Service, Department of Budget and Management to improve competition, public integrity, and trust in the procurement of common use supplies in government, which covers around 1.6 billion pesos in purchases annually, so that we never have to see another Pharmaly ever again. This honor belongs to the fellows and leaders of We Solve Foundation, the nonprofit we founded in 2021 and I am honored to lead. These fellows lead and support many of these movements that I mentioned. Our team at We Solve inspire me and energize me every day to persist in the long game of making our country better. This honor belongs to my home for research in the Ateneo Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, who value the impact of community-based research and creative work more than raw citations in indexed academic journals. This honor belongs to the Martial Law Museum team for teaching the lessons of martial law history, the terror of dictatorship, and the importance of democracy. We were able to launch the online museum, martiallawmuseum.ph, in only half a year in 2017 because of the deep commitment of a team of volunteers, supportive leaders in Ateneo de Manila, and amazing creative partners in Dapat Studio, then called Works of Heart. The museum's exhibits are now being used in classrooms, news articles, and in popular discourse in preserving national memory. This honor belongs to Bagong Bayani, a group of young civil servants in 2015 to 2017 who aimed to promote positive change and integrity in government service by sustainably recruiting young people into the civil service and demonstrating it as a practical, viable, and purposeful career option. Our collective action led 77,000 people to apply for 6,000 government jobs in caliber, and we matched at least 173 jobs to 15 government agencies, encouraged more than 300 people to take civil service exams in Ateneo de Manila, and built a community inside and outside government to guide young people who are starting out and finding their way. This honor belongs to my many mentors in public service in the Department of Finance, who modeled how a government of integrity should be open to listening and collaborating with civil society movements to make policies that are truly inclusive. This honor belongs to the Customs Reform Team, who shone a light on the most corrupt agency in government, opened up its datasets for research, and breathed hope into an agency that many considered hopeless. This honor belongs to the Syntax Coalition, which showed me the power of people's movements in pushing for change. In 2012, in my first government assignment, I was lucky to work with passionate advocates to increase taxes on tobacco and alcohol to fund universal healthcare, despite the outsized political influence of the strongest tobacco lobby in Asia, which is in the Philippines, and the largest publicly listed food and beverage company in Southeast Asia. These relationships are strong even to this day, and our movements support each other through hard times. This honor belongs to many communities who raised me: my family, my parents, my friends, my teachers, my mentors, my students, and my faith communities. The honor belongs to mentors who so generously shared testimonials for my nomination, and James Refugio and JCI Naga, who nominated me for the honor and really encouraged me to share the wisdom that we have for our communities. To close, the work of collective action is messy. It can be frustrating and sometimes slow. One might be resigned to thinking the country is better off sacrificing our freedoms to the altar of a political lord and savior, a messiah with an iron fist who can solve all our problems. But this is a lazy, losing proposition. No messiah can solve our problems. We, the people, must claim this power for ourselves. There's no shortcut to genuine empowerment. It is the boring, everyday work that makes a real difference. It is showing up in meetings, making voices heard in council meetings, preparing briefers for Congress, doing research to persuade minds, creating art, and sharing stories that move people's hearts and souls, engaging in principled diplomacy at the negotiating table, engaging in creative protests in the streets, raising resources to pay young development workers a just and living wage, taking care of volunteers, and building safe spaces to empower other young people to lead this change. We can change the system only through this hard, messy, and beautiful way, by exercising the freedoms granted to us by the Constitution and by holding power to account. I would like to end this long message by saying this honor belongs to my parents, who have demonstrated an unwavering, unconditional love. After Papa was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2021, he asked Mama, "Kung maglala ang hilang ko, papadangatan mo pa ko. If my sickness gets worse, would you still love me?" And my mama told him resolutely, without hesitation, "Siyempre, masaimpaman kita. Of course, where else will we go? Where else will I go? I owe this country everything. And despite everything, I love this country. So I will do my very best to make it better with the communities who imagine better and work to make it a reality." Diyos mabalas po sa Indogabos. Diyos mabalas po sa gabos na opisyales kang JCI Naga, saka gabos kang mga miyembro ini. As in, nagpapasalamat po talaga ako sa Indogabos.